Today we're going to be talking about one skill every harpist should know to be able to play with musicality and a beautiful tone and without stopping and starting all the time. Hello everyone, I'm Christy-Lyn and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or if you're new here, welcome, and you should totally subscribe if you are learning to play the harp and you want a little bit of help along the way. So today we're talking about overlapping brackets. We've spoken about basic bracketing before, so if you haven't seen that video, it's called A Common Mistake of Self-Taught Harpists. I'll put it up in the cards. You can get free sheet music for sailing on a lake and practice your basic bracketing. And today we're going to take that one step further and look at overlapping brackets, which is when the notes are going up and then down again, or down and then up again. And we're going to look how to do that with a beautiful tone and staying really controlled and without stopping and starting. So today's video is going to be simple overlapping brackets, and we're going to do another video later on where I do a bit more complex overlapping brackets, so you can watch out for that in the future as well. Now let's get started. So here's a reminder of why bracketing is so important. We've already mentioned that it helps you to play with musicality and without stopping and starting, but it also gives us a more beautiful tone. So if you have a background in playing guitar, especially finger-picking guitar, you might approach playing the harp by just plucking each finger one by one, and you end up with the harp, at least, you end up with a surface level sound. It sounds to me plucky, too plucky sounding, and we want to get a deeper tone, which we can get that by the bracketing. And I can create like some legato and some phrasing, just a deeper sound that is a lot more rich. For some of you, you might have practiced your basic bracketing and you get a beautiful tone when you're going in one direction, but as soon as it goes up and then down again, you end up not quite sure how to stay grounded on the strings, and it starts becoming plucky one by one, note by note again, and that's not what we want. So today we're going to solve that problem for you. So we're going to be working through an exercise, so I've created free sheet music for that, so make sure you check up in the cards or in the description box, get that link and download that sheet music of the exercise, and then we can work through it together. Time for the exercise. So you'll see in the sheet music, I'm going to put it up in the screen now as well, that there are these square brackets over the notes to indicate our overlapping brackets. So I'm going to put up on the screen first the square bracket just over one bracket. That would be our basic bracketing, and we'd play that like this. The rule of brackets is that you have to have both fingers on the strings before you start playing. So I've got to place 1 and 2 together, and then I'm going to play the 2, and then the 1. Right? So you can try that. Staying grounded on the strings. Then when we have overlapping brackets, it looks like this. And the rule of brackets still applies. So we've got to place both fingers before we play the first bracket. Then we start. And before we start play the thumb, you can see that the second bracket has started. So that means we have to have all the fingers on the strings for the second bracket, which means we've got to put our second finger back onto the string before we play the thumb, and then we play the second finger. So let's go through that again. The first bracket starts, we've got both fingers on the strings, we pluck the second finger. Then the second bracket starts, so we have to place the second finger again, we pluck the thumb, and then the second finger, and that's the end of the bracket, so we come off the strings. Alright, let's try the same thing with the left hand. So make sure your thumb is nice and high, your finger is pointing down nice and low. We've got a slight dip in our wrist. And we're going to start with the first bracket, so we pluck the second finger, then we place the second finger again, we pluck the thumb, and then the second finger, and we float off the strings because the bracket is now finished. Now let's look at the overlapping bracket where we start with the thumb and go down and then back up again. So we're going to start on this C up here with the thumb on C, the second finger on B, and the bracket starts, so we're going to play the thumb. Then the next bracket comes, so we're going to replace the thumb, play the second finger, play the thumb, and then we float off the strings because the bracket is now complete. Let's try that again. So play the thumb, place the thumb, play the second finger, and play the thumb again. Let's play that again. And it's okay if you get a little bit of a gap in the sound. So you're going to play the thumb, then when you place the thumb back on the string, it's going to stop the sound of the note that you've just played, and that's totally fine, because it's more important that we stay grounded on the strings right now and that we do our bracketing properly, rather than that we create a really smooth sound. That will come later as you place a little bit later. So later on, you're going to be placing a little later, just before you start playing that note, and then it will sound smoother. For now, rather do it a little earlier, and even if you get a bit of buzzing, that's fine. We want to make sure that we're doing the bracketing properly. Now let's do it with the left hand. So we're going to start on middle C, with the thumb on middle C, the second finger on B, so make sure your thumb is nice and high, finger pointing down, slight dip in your wrist, and make sure your shoulders are relaxed. We're going to first play the thumb, replace the thumb, play the second finger, and then play the thumb and float off, because it's all over and we want to make sure we release any tension afterwards. So let's do that again. Thumb, place, second finger, and thumb again. Right. So practice that a few times until you're comfortable with both starting with the second finger going up and down again, or starting with the thumb and going down and then up again with both hands. And when you're comfortable with that, then we're going to do it in order, going all the way up the scale and then all the way back down again. So I'm going to take it nice and slow, and you can play along with me. And at any point, if you need to go back and repeat, you can totally do that. You need to go at your own pace and make sure that you're comfortable with every step along the way. Okay, let's get started. Starting with your second finger in your right hand on middle C and your thumb on D. Place them both together on the strings, and then we're going to start moving upwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And now we're going to go downwards with the same hand, starting with your thumb on C and your second finger on B in the right hand, an octave above middle C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you're floating. Check your hand position, thumbs up. And close fully with every pluck. And then a final C. Very well done. Okay, keep on repeating that until you're really comfortable with it, and you can stay grounded on the strings the whole time, also checking all aspects of your technique and making sure that you stay relaxed. And now we're going to try the left hand, starting at the bottom. So we're an octave below middle C. We have our second finger on C and our thumb on D. Check all your positioning, that your thumbs are up, fingers down, wrist, a slight dip in your wrist, elbows away from your body, and shoulders nice and relaxed. And we're going to start with 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Place both of them and float. Make sure you place them together and replace, float, replace, float, place together, and a top C. Good. Really good. So we're making sure we place both fingers together, we're replacing the second finger every time, and we're keeping our thumbs high and our fingers pointing down, and we're floating off the strings at the end of each repeat. And we're also making sure that every time we pluck the fingers all the way into the palm and the thumb all the way over. So you can repeat that exercise maybe 5 times over, each time thinking about a different aspect of your technique. And now let's go downwards. Starting with the thumb on middle C, the second finger on the B below that. We're still with the left hand now, and we're going to be moving downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Well done. All right, I would suggest that you carry on with that exercise for a few days before you do this one, because I want you to be really comfortable with that before you move on, because now we're going to be adding a few more notes before the overlapping bracket. In the next video, we're going to do more complex overlapping brackets where we add some more notes after the bracket. But for now, there's just going to be one note afterwards. We're going to be using 3 fingers. So we're going to start with the right hand, third finger on C, second finger, that's middle C, second finger on D, and the thumb on E. Make sure you've got a very nice positioning with the thumb nice and high, fingers pointing down, slight dip in your wrist or a neutral wrist, and elbow away from your body, shoulders nice and relaxed, and make sure every time you pluck that you pluck completely into the palm of your hand. So we're going to be plucking 3, 2, and now the overlapping bracket comes. So we replace the 2, we play thumb, and then 2, and we float off the strings. So let's do that again. Place them all on the strings together. 3, 2, 1. Placing together. Then we play 3, 2, replace 2, thumb, and 2. And then you float. Good. Now we're going to do the left hand, the same thing. So starting with placing all 3 fingers, this is on C, an octave below middle C, and then second finger on D, thumb on E. So we can place all 3 of those together into a good position, thumbs up, fingers down, that slight dip in your wrist, elbow away from your body, and shoulders nice and relaxed. We're going to play 3, 2, replace the 2, play 1, and play the 2, and then we float off. Let's do that again. 3, 2, place, 1, 2. Very good. Okay, so practice those up and then down ones a few times until you're really comfortable with it, because now we're going to look at the down and then back up again, and it's a little different with the fingering. So we're going to start at the top here, thumb on C, second finger on B, third finger on A. This is an octave above middle C. This is with the right hand. So we're going to start with the thumb, second finger, and now with the overlapping bracket we're going to place the thumb on the B. We play the third finger, and then the thumb. So let me just show you this a little slower and in detail. So why is it that we're moving between the third, instead of going 3, 2, we're going 3, 1? That seems like a strange choice. When the notes are right next to each other, we would think that you'd use the second finger. The reason for it is because when we're moving back up again, we want to be involving the thumb so that we have this leverage. When we move between fingers 2 and 3, we end up getting plucky again. Whereas when we have the leverage with the thumb and moving from thumbs to fingers, we can stay grounded on the strings and keep that beautiful tone. And it just is much easier. So you can even try it out for yourself. Try doing 1, 2, 3, 1. Feels nice and secure on the strings. Then try 1, 2, 3, 2. It feels a little bit awkward, and we don't want that. So one thing to make sure that you do when you do it with this fingering, 1, 2, and now we put the thumb up onto the string. We've got to keep the second finger down. We don't want the second finger to start curling up here to move out the way. No, no, no. We keep the second finger nice and low down, and we put the thumb onto the string nice and high. You don't have to stay, let me show you up close. So we don't have to stay close to the strings like this when we place the thumb. We can open up that web space, and we can place the thumb nice and high on the strings, even though it's third and thumb. We can get that nice big gap in height. We don't have to just place the thumb on the strings here. So watch out for that. So you're going to play 1, 2, and then you open up the thumb with that nice web space and place it high on the strings, and the second finger stays down. So let's do that together again. So play the thumb, pluck all the way over, second finger into the palm. Now we place the thumb nice and high, open that web space, play the third finger, and then we play the thumb. Let's do that again. 1, 2, place the thumb nice and high, 3, and play the thumb. Very good, and remember to float off afterwards. And so let's do that over a few times until you're really happy with it. You can pause the video now. Now we're going to start with the, try that with the left hand. So we're going to be working with middle C, the thumb on middle C, second finger on B, third finger on A. So make sure you place them all together at the same time with your good position, thumb nice and high and fingers pointing down. We're going to pluck the thumb all the way over, second finger right into the palm. We keep the second finger down, we open up that thumb nice and high and make sure you've opened up that web space, and then we pluck third finger and then the thumb. So we stay nice and grounded on the strings. Let's do that again. Play 1, 2, open up the thumb and place, play 3, and then play 1. Okay, you can practice that a few times, and then we're going to do the exercise in order from the bottom to the top and then from the top down again. All right, starting with the right hand, third finger on C, second finger on D, thumb on E. Make sure you open them and place them directly onto the strings all together. And we're going to check our positioning. Thumb up, fingers down, wrist down, little dip in the wrist, or it's in neutral. Elbow away from your body, shoulders nice and relaxed. So let's place that again in the good position. Good. Then we're going to play 3, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to count you in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Place and float. Making sure you're floating. Check your positioning. Very good, well done. And now let's go downwards, starting with the thumb on C, an octave above middle C, second finger on B, third finger on A, and remember that we're going to replace the thumb onto the B in this case, and we're going to keep the thumb nice and high. We're going to open up that web space and keep the second finger down. Watch that it doesn't start curling upwards. Okay, check your positioning, thumb up, fingers down, wrist down, elbows away from your body, and shoulders nice and relaxed. I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3. Place. 2, 3. Nice and high. And float. Keep your second finger down. Make sure you're following through with each pluck. Very good. Well done. Now let's move on to the left hand. Starting with the C, below, an octave below middle C, third finger on C, second finger on D, thumb on E. Make sure your thumbs are up, fingers down. Check all your positioning, that your wrist is down, elbow away from your body, shoulders nice and relaxed. We're going to place them all on the strings at the same time, all 3 fingers for that first bracket. Okay, and I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3. Place. 2, 3. And float. Place. Oops. It's okay if you buzz sometimes. 2, 3. Right, so you notice that I buzzed a few times there, and the reason was because it's getting a bit hot in here and I'm not concentrating very well. But basically, if you don't place your finger very accurately, you might get a little bit of buzzing, and it's not a huge deal. That kind of buzzing, where it's just to do with accuracy, is going to get so much easier with time. So just make sure that you are placing quite firmly onto the string and watching for that placement, and you shouldn't get any buzzing unless you lose concentration like I did there for a moment. But keep on trying. I don't think buzzing is a huge deal. It will go away with time as your brain gets more used to telling your fingers exactly where to place. Okay, now let's try moving down again. Starting with your thumb on middle C, second finger on B, third finger on A. Check all that positioning. And then let's make sure we place them all three together at the same time. Now with this time, remember that your second finger is going to stay down and your thumb is going to replace nice and high with that web space. Okay, starting with the thumb moving downwards, I'm going to count us in. 1, 2, 3. Place. 2, 3. 2. Place and place them together. Make sure you're floating. Good. Plucking all the way through. And the last one. Very good. Well done. Keep on going through that exercise over and over. You can do it as a warm-up exercise before you start practicing, and it's a good idea to use something like this to really take note of your positioning, check your technique, and hone in on any of the little things that tend to slip up with you. You can use this as an opportunity to play through the whole exercise and think just about that one thing that you need to concentrate on. And if there's two things, then play it through again a few times, just focusing on that second thing. So one little cautionary note is if you try to think about 5 or 6 different aspects of your technique all at the same time while you're doing this exercise, you're going to feel very overwhelmed. So rather try and stick to 1 or maybe 2 things each time you're playing through, and just do it multiple times if you want to use this exercise for focusing on different things. Thanks so much for watching. Here's the link if you still haven't downloaded the sheet music. I think it will be really helpful for you, and I hope to see you again next week. Make sure you subscribe if you want some help with learning the harp, and thanks to my patrons who make these videos possible. There's all their names on the screens right now. They're just amazing, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!